Hey guys, so this video is all about making an ebook. Now, this is not the only way to do things, okay? But I want you to have as many options as possible. So I'm going to give you my formula for making ebooks that people will love to read. So by the end of this process, you're going to end up with a PDF document, and that's all an ebook really is. It's just a PDF that people can download from you. Now, you can give these away for free or you can charge money for it. The process for creating them is exactly the same, no matter which option you choose, no matter what you choose to do with it. You can sell it or you can give it away. So, when it gets to this kind of stuff, there's a common question that I've been receiving over the years, and that is, how long does the ebook need to be? How many pages long does it need to be? Well, the answer is really as long as it needs to be to communicate your message. So it can be 10 pages long, it can be 100 pages long. It doesn't matter, as long as you're delivering the right amount of value to your audience. And that's what it's all about. That's what it really comes down to, is delivering the right amount of value to your audience, and as long as as many pages as that takes. So another common question that I get is people saying that they're not an expert and they feel that holds them back. Well, I've got some good news. You don't need to be a long-term expert to do this. You see, when it comes to this kind of stuff, there are 3 types of expert. Well, actually, there's a few more, but there are only 3 that you actually need to know about to make this stuff work for you. Okay, so the first type of expert is the been there, done it, the results type of expert, someone who's already achieved the level of success that they want to, and now they're sharing it with other people, how they achieved it. So there's that type of expert. Then secondly, you've got the other type of expert, which is someone who will find other people that have been successful, and then they will share their stories. So you're effectively a researcher and a reporter in that instance. And then you've got another type of expert, which is the role model. So that's someone who's still trying to figure things out, and then they share what he or she finds. So okay, you don't need to be an expert to do this stuff. So let's get down into this video. So I'm going to give you 10 sections to use as a structure you can use for creating your ebook, and you can make each section a paragraph long, or you can make it a page long. It doesn't matter. It's entirely up to you. The important thing to do with this is to make a start. So I've included a worksheet with this video, so go ahead, open that up and follow along, because when you do, by the end of this video, you will have your ebook done and dusted. It'll be all finished, okay? So the first thing that you need to do is choose a topic for your ebook. Now, from this point forward, I'm going to assume that you know that what that topic is, okay? So now I'm going to give you the formula for creating the ebook, and you'll know how to structure it. So we've got 10 sections, and that's what really makes up the entire book. So imagine that each section that we're going to go through now, imagine that each one is just a headline inside your ebook, okay? And then underneath the headline, you've got some text, and that text can be a paragraph, it can be a page, it doesn't matter. I would say a minimum of a paragraph, possibly a maximum of a page for most of these sections, but not all. We'll get to that later on. So if you follow along, by the end of this video, you're going to have your ebook all finished. Okay, so the first section, the first headline that we're going to use is the promise that your ebook will make to the reader. So this is the big end result, the overall big gain that they'll get from reading the book. Okay, so if, let's say, you're in the weight loss niche, then your headline could be something like consistently drop 10 pounds every month without a crazy diet, something like that. Okay, and once you've got your end result, your big benefit, the next thing you got to do is write out what that promise means. So describe it and paint the picture, talk about the benefits and why they're important. Okay, so the second section that we need to talk about are the specific results. Okay, so you could write about your success, you could write about your client's success. Here you use real results that have been achieved as a result of following your advice or doing whatever it is you're selling. So maybe you've lost a significant amount of weight, and this is where you go into a bit more detail. This is where you really help people to realize what's possible. This is where you pull them deeper into the ebook. Okay, so the next section, then we have problems and obstacles. So think about what's preventing your customers from achieving the results that they want. Okay, and it's your job in this section to describe the problems and the obstacles, the hurdles, the things that have been holding them back. So you don't have to worry about fixing anything at the moment. So just describe the common problems that they might be facing. I mean, maybe they don't have the right kind of support network, or maybe it's all about getting the right kind of motivation. Maybe they need a system in place to help them to move forward. So just here, you will really just list and describe the problems that they're facing and explain why it's hard, why it's difficult for them to move forward. So the next section is all about testimonials. Let me pull this up on the board. So there we go. So yeah, this section is all about testimonials. So here you're going to need some social proof, results that other people have achieved from using your products. Now, you might be thinking, well, that's all well and good for people that have been on, doing this stuff for years, but what if you haven't? What if you don't have any testimonials? Well, maybe the customer base isn't big enough for that. Maybe you haven't been around long enough or whatever. Well, don't worry, because you can still get testimonials. You just have to give away a few copies of your book or your course or whatever your thing is in exchange for honest feedback. And I'd like to really hammer this point home, that you're asking for honest feedback. You're not asking for a testimonial. That by doing that, we kind of slide into the shady end of the industry. So we keep things honest and transparent. So you're asking for honest feedback, and it's okay to publish things that say your book isn't perfect. That's fine. We'll get more onto this more in like the sales stuff, where you can actually use that to your advantage. We'll circle back around to this at a later point. So the point is, get testimonials, ask for honest feedback, and use that feedback as a testimonial. So you can just hand out a few copies of your ebook and see what people make of it. Use their quotes as your testimonials. So next on the board, we've got your struggle. So this is how you found achieving the results, or the journey. This is how you found the journey difficult, and what you found difficult about it, how you tried other things that didn't work before you hit on the thing that did work. So talk about how you failed Now, you don't have to go into massive amounts of detail. Just acknowledge it, reference it, because the people who are reading your ebook, they are probably in a similar situation to the one that you have been, the one that you've overcome. So, this is a great way to build rapport with people, so they know that you've been where they are now, and because you've achieved success, they can too. So let's stay with your story, and let's move on to your success. Let me pull it up on the board. So we've got another section here. There we go. So this is all about your success, and this is where you share how you figured it all out, okay? How you succeeded. Now, listen, we're all adults here. I'm fully aware that some of you are still trying to succeed in whatever you're doing, and that's fine. It's all okay. You don't need to be massively successful with this. You can use other people's success instead. Remember at the top of the video we mentioned about 3 types of expert? Well, you can use other people's success. There are areas in my business where I am so terrible, but my students need to know that information, so I will look at case studies of how other people have succeeded with something, and I will take that, use them as a case study, and present how they did it. So you can do the same. Of course I don't do that right across the board with my videos, but there are some areas where I just don't have the expertise to teach, so I will go and I will find case studies and deliver the information that way. So that's perfectly acceptable for you to do. So the next section, I think we're on section 7 at this point. So this is all about dispelling common myths. So here you're going to look at the falsehoods that, might be in your customers' minds, and you explain why they're false. Now, there's a reason why we do this, okay? This is because the more you help your customers see things differently, the more they see you as an expert and someone they can trust, okay? So what you're doing is, by dispelling myths that they may have thought were true, you're making them question how much they actually knew about the topic that they were researching or learning about. So what you're doing is you're dispelling the myths and the falsehoods, and you're giving them the reality of the situation, okay? So this makes them wonder what else they don't know. Sorry about that. I don't know if I picked it up there. I had to pause the video there because the phone rang. So, okay. So this section is all about dispelling myths. And what happens is it makes your students wonder what else they don't know about, what else you can teach them that nobody else is going to. So by dispelling the common myths in this section, it's very powerful for creating loyalty and allegiance to you. So the next section that we're going to look at is a big one, okay? This is probably the most important section of your ebook, and that's the solution. This is where you introduce the solution. This is where you deliver the biggest amount of value in your ebook. Now, you want at least 50 or 60% of your ebook to be made up of this section. So this is really where you start to teach people. This is where you deliver the biggest amount of value. Okay, everything before this point, so the promise, the results, the problems, testimonials, struggles, success, common myths, all that stuff was setting the stage for the solution, right? Everything else was just setting the stage. So you help them, you help your students understand what's involved through all this stuff, through the promise, the results, the problems, all that. You help them understand what's involved, what's possible, and you're getting their head in the right place so they can fully appreciate and benefit from the solution. So you're giving them the solution here, and everything else before it was to help them appreciate and benefit from the solution you're giving them. Okay, so let's crack on to number 9. Now, I think there's only like 10 sections here, so we're almost done. So we've got a couple more to go. So section 9 is all about habits for success. And this is your advice on how your students can stay the course, okay? How they can keep on track and stay focused on getting the results that they want. Okay, and let's move on to the final section, the last section here, section 10. And this is all about the call to action. So, for this bit, you think about the very first thing you want your students to do after they read your book. Okay? Think about the next step, the next logical step of action that you want them to take once they've read in this book. This is where you ask them to do it. Now, typically, this is where you'd ask them to buy something. Okay? So you'd have a link in this section, maybe some blurb about why they should consider buying it, you know, have a compelling reason for them to click the link to the sales page, and then they click on that, and then they go and they buy your next product. Okay, so all these 10 sections here, this is a great outline for writing an ebook, and this is going to work amazing for you because this is the structure that keeps people glued to the page, and it gives massive value to them as well. So hopefully you've been following along with this. Please tell me that you have, and hopefully you've been writing as you go. So maybe you've been pausing the video at each section, you know, churning out a paragraph or so every time, along with the worksheet that I've given you. So, you know, hopefully by this stage you have completed your ebook, or you're very close to completing it. I apologize. So if you've taken part in the process, then congratulations. Okay, this is something that not many people will actually do. You see, a lot of people out there will probably just watch this video and think, oh yeah, okay, it's good information, I'll come back to that at a later point and actually go through the process. You know, while that's true, you know, a lot of people will come back and carry on. There's a percentage there that will intend to do it, but actually won't. So if you're thinking, well, you know, I can come back to this video and carry on at a later time, I'm not feeling motivated to do it at the moment, well, that's an indication to you that now is exactly the right time to do it. If you're feeling like that, then go back to the start of this video. Let's go through it again. Open up the worksheet, that I've made for you. Let's go through it and let's just do it now. Let's just make a start. Okay? Maybe even if it takes just writing a single line for each of these sections. Okay? And maybe you don't have the information at hand for one of the sections, but perhaps it's testimonials. So we just skip that one, put in the headline, skip the content, and just move on to your struggle. The thing is to make a start with this, even if it's just a single line of text underneath each headline. If you do this, I can almost guarantee that the future version of you is going to be very thankful that you did. Okay? And if you haven't done this yet, if you haven't started, then I'm going to guess that the only thing holding you back is fear. And if that's true, that's perfectly normal too. Okay? So remember that even if you don't release this book, even if it just sits on your computer and you never do anything with it, still take the time to do this process, because when you do, it's going to move you one step closer to where you want to be. I mean, you know, let's think about it, okay? The more stuff you make, the more results you'll get, even if you're not releasing the ebook. Even if you don't do anything with it, you'll still be one step closer to writing a version that you will release. So the important thing here is to start the process. And, you know, you might be surprised with the end result. You might be feeling very proud of the work you've done by the end of the process. You know, on the other hand, you might be completely embarrassed and not want to show anyone that. And either way, it's perfectly fine. The thing is to start creating and let that momentum build and let that momentum carry you forward into creating content that you will release. You know, hopefully, when you go through this process, you know, use all these headlines as a template. You will have something that you want to sell or want to give away. So the only thing that can happen as a result of doing this process is eventually you will make more money. Okay? So either way, no matter what you choose to do with it, it will result in very good results for you at some point in the future. The future you is going to be thankful that you started this process. Okay? So I'll leave it there for the moment. This video went on a bit longer than I anticipated because there's so much content in this, and you know, I really need to make it clear that you know, this is something you can do. I know it's daunting. I know the thought of writing an ebook, you know, it's like the idea of climbing Mount Everest, you know, but you break it down step by step, and when we break it down step by step, we see that it's actually pretty easy. So okay, I hope you found this content to be really beneficial. I hope you take action and get cracking with the process. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you again in the next video.